OJ,
Sir,
welcome.
thank you very much.
Thank
Good
you
to
for
be
coming
here.
out.
My pleasure.
Man, you're doing some good work over there. What's going on with the Hope House? How cuz you really started this thing, didn't you?
Well, that's a bit of a misnomer. Hope House Guthrie, and we say Hope House Guthrie all one word because there's our Hope House this that all over the countryside.
Yeah.
Which I did not know when we chose the name. I thought, what a great name, Hope House. And you go to register your company name or whatever. Like, oh well, there's a Hope this. Okay, so we got to have the Guthrie on there. Hope House Guthrie. Okay.
There you go.
So anyway, my involvement with Hope House Guthrie is a little accidental, if you will. I was trying to find out if the guys who ran what became Hope House Guthrie, which was just a lunch program, find out if they were still in business. It just came up. Someone was hungry, and I said, "Well, I think you can get lunch over here. I don't know if they're still in business. Let's just drive down there and see." And so I did, and they were. And it's a couple of brothers, twin brothers, the Wyatt brothers, hometown boys, who were doing this luncheon program, and then they began to branch out into Bible studies and library and online possibilities for the homeless or whomever in need, So I began to try to find ways to support them financially and get them some exposure so that they could get more help. And then it came about that they needed to move to a new location. The location they were at, they just kind of outgrew it, and they became uncomfortable.
Where were they before?
It's on the west side of town, Grace Assembly Church, in the flats, what we call the flats, if you're from Guthrie. And there's only one big building in the flats, a little white church, and behind it is a 2-story building. And so Lou's, it was called Lou's, Lous, Lunch on Us, anagram, Lunch on Us.
There you go. I like that.
Yeah, and that was begun by Miss Susan Long and her husband. She wanted to do it, and her husband said, "Who's going to pay for all that?" And she told him he was, and he said, "Okay." And so 30 grand later on renovations to the building, give or take, there she was up and running. And then she ran that for about 4.5 years, doing lunch and just ministry to people and loving people, and had the clothing room and pots and pans, household, whatever people might drop off to share with the those underprivileged. And then she quite suddenly passed away, became ill and passed away. And so that's when the brothers picked up the ministry a couple of months later. And so that's where I come in, trying to help them. And then when it became necessary to move, we thought, well, let's get organized. And so they had some friends involved with them, and so we sat down and formed a 501c3 and registered their name. They called themselves the Neighborhood Hope Dealers.
I like that.
Right? They were
Okay.
twin brothers who, in their previous life, prior to meeting Miss Susan, who ran Lou's, were some of our local neighborhood dope dealers.
And they changed that
They
up.
changed that, got saved, found the Lord, and found that they wanted to serve, and so now they are the neighborhood hope dealers.
I love that.
Yeah, it's very cool. Some of the older folks don't get it, but it's okay.
Yeah.
So
Well,
anyway,
how did you? So you say that's where you came in, helped get it organized,
Yes.
formed the 501c3.
Right.
How did you know what to do? How did you know how to get organized?
I was already involved. I'm older than dirt. I've been around a while. In my past life, I've had a corporation or two.
Okay.
As very young man, my brother and I did landscaping and construction, and we had a janitorial business, and we had learned to incorporate when we were in our very young 20s. So that was my first experience. And then for about the last 10 years, I've been involved here in Guthrie with Neighborhood Solutions. Neighborhood Solutions is an organization that we are the only organization in the county that will help you get a federal USDA grant or loan for refurbishing your home or building a new home,
Okay.
or ADA requirements, upfitting your home for disabled needs, whatever they might be, as well as insulation and new windows and doors. All of those things are programs that Neighborhood Solutions offers to the whole county.
Are they specific?
Countywide.
Are they
Right here in
strictly
Guthrie.
local?
Yeah, right here in Guthrie.
Okay,
Right,
that's awesome.
right up by the old hospital, across from the old hospital, which is now housing for senior housing.
So will they actually, if there's someone, say in Guthrie that, we've got a lot of old houses here.
Yes, we do.
So let's say, we've got a roof, caving in or
Right.
severely damaged. So they would go to Neighborhood Solutions.
Yes.
And Neighborhood Solutions would help them through the application process.
Neighborhood Solutions actually what's called packaging the loan application. We actually do sit you down and do the paperwork for you because it's quite intimidating.
Yeah.
It's quite a packet.
Yeah.
And so our office, I say our, I haven't been in that office in 2 years since Hope House Guthrie, but they're still there, and I'm aware. And so, yeah, they will sit you down and actually walk you through that process and help you fill out the paperwork. And then let's say you want to get a government loan to buy a new home, okay? And you could be 21 years old or 70. Doesn't matter. There are programs for the underprivileged, lower income families, and then programs just for at any age, lower income. So anyway,
are there income?
Most of us,
because I've never worked with Neighborhood Solutions. So when they go through these programs and help someone obtain one of these grants to say repair a home or something, what sort of approval stipulations or requirements are in there? Are they specifically for lower income families or individuals?
Specifically lower income, and income is a determining factor.
It's the folks that need
but
it.
It's a pretty generous range, your income based on how many people are in your family. And it starts at you as a single person at about $30,000 a year that you might make. And then if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 children, you could be making $80,000 a year and still qualify for these programs.
Sure.
At 1 to 3% interest loan.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and not only that, but then if your credit needs repair to qualify for this government loan, let's say, or you don't have any credit, we will show you how to build credit. Here's exactly what you do to build credit. Get a job, get a checking account, if you don't have one, take out a prepaid credit card and draw money from it and repay it every month. Do that for 12 months, 16, 18 months, anything, if you get it stable enough that you can afford to buy a car, buy a car, make your payments on time. Let's build your credit.
Yep.
18 months, 2 years from now, we can help you get that loan. And we will also go and look at your credit and help do credit repair, whatever might be on your credit that could be taken off, but you just don't know that it could or how to do that. Well, we'll help you do that. So we'll help you build your credit if you don't have it, or fix it if it's in disrepair, and then help you get the loans.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, especially lower income families or individuals, they really feel like the world today is disproportionately geared toward people that have money.
That's true.
And they feel like they're just kind of left here.
Well, that's true, and they don't even know that they have options.
And that's sad and upsetting.
It is. But in 14 years, this will be the 15th year now that we're in for Neighborhood Solutions. Neighborhood Solutions has brought in to date over $14 million of federal loan and grant money to Logan County.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's
huge.
and it's all volunteer. Sue Descharme, who's the CEO, who I also persuaded, I conned her into helping me start Hope House Guthrie, Neighborhood Hope Dealers, as a corporation. She's also my CEO over here. She started that and has been doing that as a volunteer for all these many years. And then she is able to employ 1 or 2 people through the AARP senior work program.
Really?
That pays seniors 55 and older, if you are lower income, again, for up to 20 hours a week, I believe it is, at minimum wage.
Sure.
But,
but it's income.
It's income, and many of those people have wonderful skills, but, don't want to work 40 hours a week anymore.
Man, there's one thing that I am just a diehard believer on is that retirement age is like it's fake. It's not a real thing. I think
it is fake.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, you get to 60, 65 and society and they tell you, oh, it's time to retire.
Sure.
But that's the time where you've spent the last 30, 40 years
Learning,
developing
prepping.
skills and prepping. You know,
Right.
yeah, you've got the experience in the marketplace.
Sure,
You've
sure.
run businesses. You've done all these things.
I just
That
read
makes you more valuable.
some statistics the other day I was reading, and they were, whoever this was, saying that your 60s and 70s, by and large, are your most productive years in business or whatever that you are into. Those are your
believe it.
most productive years.
Yeah.
And for the reasons that you just stated.
Yeah.
Now you know it all, and you're not going to make the same mistakes you made at 25 or 35 or, you know.
Yeah.
And
You might have had 40 or 50 years to develop experiences.
Yeah.
And
So anyway, so that's so my plan was to help these boys. I say boys, they're 45, I think, when I met them. Help them, kind of back them up administratively as they ran Hope House Guthrie.
okay. So you were really more of a support mechanism.
Support
than
mechanism.
hands-on.
I'll be over here. I'll go. You know, I have nice hair, so I'll go get my picture made and talk to the ladies at the newspaper, you know, whatever. And they. So anyway, well, as it turned out, in fact, the theory didn't quite work in practice because they both had other obligations, and you know, I thought one of them was going to be there 12 hours a day, and the other twin would be there the other 12 hours, you know.
Yeah.
And that's not what was happening. And so I found myself there for hours and hours and hours every day just to be there. And so we opened Hope House in June of 2020, planning to clean and organize and get our processes and programs together through the month of June, and then start accepting clients in July 1st. That was the plan. Well, by July 1st, we already had 10 people in the house, living full-time in the house. The need was just that great.
It was.
And we needed somebody to live there just to keep an eye on things, you know, so, and we didn't really have a plan or programs, if you will, in place. And so we took bits and pieces of programs from other entities that are already have been doing for years what we wanted to do, and they were willing to share their paperwork with us.
Okay.
You know, here's what because I'm like, what do I do with these people all day?
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't know. What do I do?
Yeah.
Classes all day or what? And so it was quite the learning curve. You know, I've worked with street people and convicts and that sort of thing in the past, but never like this. Live in 24 hours a day.
Well, and that's kind of what makes the Hope House different. You have these folks, and you know, when we were talking the other day, you had 42 people.
Right.
So I imagine you usually stay somewhere in that ballpark.
Well, of late, of the last few months, you know, it has hovered around that 40 mark.
Okay.
And it's not our cap, but it's very close.
Is it?
With the people that we have to run Hope House, we can't really manage more people than that. And as it turns out, we have 42 beds. We own 42 beds, so there you go. Yeah.
Nice. But you guys are unique in the sense that you're a charity that helps underprivileged people or people in need.
Right.
But you're not funding the entire operation. Like these guys they're really working for this thing every day. I mean, when we were there, you had people laying flooring.
Oh yeah.
And doing all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, we have the male to female ratio adults in the house is always about 2 to 1 men versus women, or a little greater maybe. Right now, I think we have 25 men and 13 women at the moment. Now, that'll change tomorrow. One of our ladies is getting on a bus and going home out of state. We had another lady that got on a bus with her baby and went home a few days ago, and a single man that showed up in the middle of the night and just needed somewhere to stay for the night and had come up from out of town to see someone and hoping to maybe, I don't know. Anyway, it didn't work out, and here he was stuck in Guthrie with a moped that died.
Oh, no.
Drove it up here from 50 miles away. And so we took him home yesterday, and I said, what do you want to do with that moped? I'm not hauling that in our van. It won't go in there for one thing, and it kind of smells like it's leaking gas. I said, I'll tell you what, we take $50 for it. And it turned out I had $65 in my wallet. So I gave him that $65. He's like, "Yeah, that's great, man."
And you
Doesn't
got a
run
moped.
anyway. Yeah, doesn't run anyway.
We're going to see you driving around town.
Well, no, but we put it in the back of my car, and took it over to the Hope House. And of course, the guys at Hope House, you've met somebody. They're like, "Hey, man, a moped. Can I drive that to work?" I said, "Yeah, absolutely. You get it running. You can, sure."
Yeah.
So Hope House is very unusual.
So
place.
what drew you to this? Because I guess I kind of thought, this all happened a lot more quickly, but it sounds like this has spanned several years, and almost like it almost sounds like you were kind of being pulled toward it.
I think that's exactly right. I think it was inevitable for me. I think it's I think it's something God intended for me to do, and the time became right. I grew into who I needed to be able to do Hope House. I did not intend. I was not looking to do this. I didn't expect it. But what's funny about it is, 6 months or so in, the boys left the ministry, and I was just there by myself. I'm looking around, going, "Oh, okay, what do we do now?" And but we had already begun, because you have to bringing on board, if you will, on staff as if it was a jail, you would call them trustees, and some houses do call them trustees, but we call them house leaders, and they would be.
And these are people that live there.
People that live there.
Okay.
That we felt like, okay, we can trust you to have the keys to the locker room, where the people keep their medications locked up in their own personal locker that only they have a key to.
Sure.
You can't get in there without a house leader letting you in, but nobody can get in your locker except you. We're not keeping the key, huh?
Yeah.
No, we're not touching that.
Yeah.
And so somebody's got to do that all day long, off and on, whenever people might need their meds. So it was critical that we bring some people on board. And so that's kind of how we developed our house leadership roles. And that's still how we do it today. One of the gentlemen who has been there the longest came in within the first 10 days or so that we were getting organized, and is still there 19 months later, and he is now my assistant administrator of Hope House Guthrie. And that is not a titular title. He works for that. He has earned that.
Yeah.
That position, and he takes it quite seriously and has devoted himself to Hope House rather than seek outside employment. He only recently, he's the first person to do more than 18 months at Hope House and move into his own private housing, which he just got a couple of weeks ago. Still putting his apartment together, but he's going to stay and volunteer at Hope House. Well, he doesn't quite volunteer. I pay him a few $100 a month.
I was just going to ask.
300.
Yeah, 300.
300.
Okay.
To be the assistant administrator of $1.5 million property, and 18,000 square feet and 40 plus people, give or take, every day. That is an ever changing scene. But anyway, how did I? How did I give? I wanted to do this when I was 20, 30. I saw this need for people because I was working with them even back then. I saw this need for people, men, if they just had time somewhere they could just be for 18 months.
Yep.
Was my number in my head, to change their lives, to get over the addiction, whatever it might be, or get through the divorce, or get through the child custody battle, whatever. Just have some time where they didn't have to worry about bills and food and clothing. Boy, that would be awesome.
Is that most of the people that are there, they find themselves struggling with addiction,
Sure.
and they're needing
Yes.
the opportunity, the time.
They need time
to get over
They need
it,
time
to get past it.
Anytime when they come to Hope House, what, aside from the agreement that we make with them on paper, which is quite revealing and in depth.
Sure.
For them, you must tell us about your mental health situations and your drug issues and your court situation, and we're going to find out all about you so that we know best how to help you going forward. What is it that you need to conquer?
And that's such a big part of getting sober when you're struggling with addiction is the honesty. And really being okay with being completely honest, even if what you're talking about is upsetting or
Sure.
it hurts or whatever the
Right.
case.
It's going to hurt. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it has to. I think that's part of the healing
Well, it
process.
does have to. But we all know now that it's really called addiction is really a misnomer. Substance abuse disease is really the applicable term and more appropriately definitive term. Substance abuse disease. Now, your substance that some people abuse is gambling, if you will. Or it might be your gaming or chess.
Yeah, it really could be anything.
It could be anything.
Yeah.
Anything that takes you away from your responsibilities in life. Anything that you give up everything else for, you are addicted to. It's okay to be addicted. Most of us are addicted on some level, but the trick is to find the proper things to addict yourself
Healthy
to.
addictions.
You have to choose, a healthy addiction. It's okay to be, you're going to be addicted. If you're prone to that, if that's part of who you are anyway, well, then let's face it, let's deal with that and recognize it. And okay, let's do some healthy addictions here. Okay. Okay. So you have to replace, like when you quit smoking, you have to replace that with something else, chewing gum or something. And it's kind of the same thing. Well, let's replace that addiction with something healthy for you. So what we try to do at Hope House, if you have 18 months of sobriety, I have learned over the years that clinical fact, your brain will begin to heal and change and grow new neuronic, whatever they're called, connections, neural connections, because you're thinking new thoughts. And so your brain has to find new ways to think about these new thoughts you're having.
And you're also, to your point, you're finding new ways to cope with things that happen to you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And all of our people are required to get counseling because, as you said, the root of addiction is not I like beer or I like drugs. The root of addiction is I have problems I cannot deal with.
Yeah. And
Something
I use that
happened to me.
substance as a means to escape this issue.
Something happened when I was a child. My dad, my parents, my mother, my divorce, foster care, whatever it might be, or in later years, the divorce or the death of whomever, and I just can't handle it, and I get a beer, and I find I really like that, and somebody offers me some drug of whatever type, and some of those are quite addictive. Methamphetamines, meth. The street name meth is extremely addictive. Fentanyl, even more so, and deadly. And it's very easy to become addicted to those things because all you want is to not feel for a while. I want to not hurt. I want to not have to think. I want to not feel.
And I mean, man, if you're talking, meth and fentanyl, I mean, those are like the Mac Daddies of not feeling anything.
That's right. That's right. Of not feeling. And that's what people want. They want to numb out and just not feel. And so you fall into this scenario where that becomes your goal every day. My goal is, where's the party? Where can I score? Who can I buy something from? What can I steal to get the money to buy? What can I sell in my house?
So how do you help the people that are staying there change those behaviors? Because so often I think that, if you spent 10, 12, 15, 20, 30 years addicted to something, you've developed a system of habits and patterns that are really hard to break. It's not just stopping the substance. It's changing your decision making.
Exactly. And this is what we focus on. Here, as I tell everyone when I'm making my morning speech or whatever, when the group's together, I say, okay, let's remember what we're here for. We are here to learn how to react differently to every single thing that happens to you all day long. Yeah. How to react differently to everything whomever says to you. How to react differently to a plate of food in front of you. How to react differently to the grass growing in the yard outside. How to react differently when someone cuts you off in traffic in your car. How to react differently when your paycheck doesn't extend as far as your bills every month. Yeah. We have to learn how to react differently. Yeah. We have to learn, number one, we have to plan a budget before you ever get the paycheck. Yeah. We have to plan a budget. When I get my money, here's what I'm going to do with it. Make that decision, that determination, so you're not surprised, caught off guard, don't know what to do, and then boom, you fail. And so yeah, you have to learn to react differently and to think differently about everything, which is what happens after you get sober and your mind heals. You just begin to see things more clearly. How do you accomplish that? Here's what I tell the people, and I don't mean to be flippant about this, but it's quite simple. I tell them, guys, you want to beat this? You want to beat this addiction? You want to stay sober? Is that what you want to do? Yeah, it's real simple. Stay here. Stay here. Stay in the house. Follow the rules. Stay in the house.
Listen to
me.
Yeah.
This works, not because I made it up, because it's a proven fact. Historically, we've got hundreds of years of proof this works. Do the 30 days without your phone, without media, without Facebook. Leave the drama out there.
Yep.
Just forget about it. There's not a thing you can do about it. You weren't doing anything to help any of those situations when you were out there. What in the world makes you think you can affect it when you're here in a recovery center? You know, you got no money, no job, no car. How are you going to help anybody do anything?
You're not.
So give it up.
And so many of these people, the issue is that, and I'm speaking just from past experience.
And me too.
When you are addicted to something, and that is the thing that you wake up thinking about,
All right, exactly.
your brain just works. It just works differently. And one of the things that I noticed, because when I was able to get sober, and one of the things I wanted to do was I kind of felt like I was out in the dark, in the cold, and I felt like almost like being reborn.
Right. Yes.
And I
Very much.
was obsessed with like, okay, what is really going on here? And like what is happening to my brain? Because I was able to look back at, say, like the last 4 or 5 years of my life, and the behavior and the actions
Right.
that I would take on a daily basis.
Yes. Yeah.
And I would be surprised that that was me.
Yeah. Yes.
Or that I would do the things that I did.
Right.
And it's like when I was able to clean myself up, I was a different person.
Sure.
And I had this appetite to like grow and understand and, or get an idea of like why that was.
Right. And learn.
And learn. And so that was something that I did, not really consciously understanding what I was doing, but when I was able to get sober, it really changed my life through this obsession to learn and
Sure.
understand more what I was going through.
I see the same thing all the time, and anyone who works in this world, that's what you see, is that after 2 weeks, after 30 days, there are major changes in a person's physical appearance, for one thing. One of the first things everybody says after a few weeks is like, man, I've gained like 10 pounds. you know?
Yeah. And you know what? Your eyes.
And your eyes.
I feel like when
Your
I see
eyes.
someone sober up, you can almost see the life come back to
Right.
them.
You see the light again.
Yeah.
You see the light again. And eventually the fear disappears.
Yes.
Eventually.
Yeah.
And it's very humbling and surprising to me when someone in the house, that I can think of a couple of situations that I know was out there dealing, blowing and going and running and gunning, literally, and we're sitting there talking in the backyard, and this person says to me, and this is a 40-year-old individual, for instance, not the first time, suddenly said to me, Jay, this is the first time in my life I felt safe.
That means something.
That
That's
blows
impactful.
my mind. I'm like, wow, man. But
You know what though? When you are in that that cascade of emotions and like unconscious
That's
behavior
good. Cascade,
and
yeah,
yeah, well, because it snowballs, right?
Yeah.
It always
Right.
starts with a normal or like routine thing, and then it just gets a little bit worse and a little bit worse. And I think that's the slippery slope, is like at first you don't realize exactly what's going on, or if you don't understand the gravity of what it means in terms of your life until you're too far in and you've made this big avalanche, and it's like you're running from it.
Yeah.
And you feel like if
you have to keep running,
you do,
or the
or you get
avalanche,
buried.
the avalanche will bury you.
Yeah.
That's
So-
it's really true. And so you're just afraid all day, and when you're in that life, if you will, all you do is lie.
Yeah.
All you do is lie to everybody, to your boss, your spouse, your your friends, your family. You know, I can't be there because I don't have any money because I need $20 because you know my car's in the shop.
Yeah.
Because
My grandma died. You know, whatever it is.
yeah, and what's beautiful with the people in the house now that we've been there 20 months, so we had our second Christmas, right? Now the first Christmas we were there, we were only about 7 months old, and hardly anybody. I'm thinking back, hardly anybody went home for Christmas. We had one or two people who had made some level of amends with various family members, but even they didn't leave the house. But this Christmas, right now we got like 40 people, about 35 adults, let's say. And I'm looking on my, you know, we share everything on it. We have a texting group, you know, so-and-so wants a pass, a 2-day pass, a 1-day pass, you know, going on pass to see.
Is that to go home?
Yeah, to go see mom or to go shopping with, or to go home for Thanksgiving or whatever. So I'm looking at pass after pass after pass. And so finally I called the panel. I went up there, and I got the panel together. I said, listen, is anybody going to be here Christmas Day? It looks like everybody's going home on pass. And yeah, like 20 plus people went home on pass. And at first I was like, oh man, we're not going to have everyone here for Christmas. Oh, that's really bad. And then it hit me, you know, like all of these people have lived a sober life long enough now, 8 months, year and a half, 15 months. Now their family believes them.
Mm-hmm.
Now mom believes you. Now your children, you grown adults, 30, 40, 50-year-old adults, now your children believe you. You're serious this time. You're doing this.
Yeah.
It wasn't 30 days and you're gone. It wasn't, you know, you're not making promises anymore that you can't possibly keep, and they know it.
Or had no intent
Or had no
of
intention
ever
of
keeping.
keeping.
Yeah.
That's it. And so when everybody gets back, right, from after the holidays, and we're all together, and we're talking about it, we're talking New Year's Eve. Everybody was there. That's when we had Christmas, New Year's Eve. That was our New Year's Eve party. Instead of going bar hopping, we did certificates of accomplishment, you know, and had our Christmas presents, gifts from various community members in our community organizations that provided gifts for all of our children, even the children who don't live in the house, but their parents are with us, but gifts specifically for those children, so that our parents would have something to give. Anyway, and so
I'm kind of curious to know how the neighborhood hope dealers, how these guys, you know, how did they react to getting Christmas gifts from the community?
It kind of blows their mind. It's just, why would they do that?
Yeah.
Why?
Because that's not something that you think about when you're addicted. You don't think about going and buying someone a gift.
You're not giving nobody nothing.
Or giving to charity or anything.
No.
Because it's all so inward directed. You're thinking about, how am I gonna get?
You know, how do I get what I need?
Yeah.
Well, what's happened over this 20 months that we've been around, 20, is that last year, before Christmas of 2021, when we had the big ice storm and every tree in town broke, right?
Yep.
Well, people from Hope House, we had some calls. You know, do you have some guys over there that can clean up some debris? Well, we put the word out. If you need your debris cleaned up from the storm, call Hope House. Well, we went, and I went on some of these, but mostly they went themselves with leaders and did, I don't know, 15 or 20 people's homes. And I mean, cleaned them up, got up, climbed the trees, cut stuff up, cleaned up the yard, raked the yard, hauled it off. A lot of it we brought back to the Hope House and burned in our fire pit.
There you go.
Is very cool.
Free firewood.
Yeah, and some of it the city let us dump for free, but they did all that volunteer for free.
How do they feel about working for free?
They feel like they are doing the most wonderful thing in the world. That's so cool. That lady was so happy, OJ.
Yeah.
That old guy couldn't even get out his front door. You know, OJ. Yeah.
I think that's really cool because money, especially say with my generation, money has become like a symbol of achievement and status. And
What kind of phone do you have? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. What kind of car do you drive?
Right,
It's all that stuff.
Yeah.
But what I noticed is when you make the shift in your perspective, because so for me, the philosophy behind my business
Right.
is relationships over transactions.
Exactly.
And
Sure,
I felt like when I was able to stop thinking about where the paycheck's coming from and start focusing on how I can contribute and bring value,
Right.
the money just came.
Sure. Sure.
You didn't even have to work for it.
Same thing is happening for us. Exactly. We're, folks. Well, you have to volunteer. If you live at Hope House, there will be volunteer opportunities, and you will volunteer. I mean, you have to do that.
Yeah.
We have to get back to the community. Now, it's very rarely that I have to say you have to volunteer, but it has happened a time or two. Well, I don't feel like going. I don't know those people. Well, it doesn't matter. That this community supports you. The food you eat, the electricity, the bed you sleep in, all of those monies. I'm not paying for that. You're not paying for it. It's not a hotel. You didn't rent a room.
Comes from the community.
It comes from the community, and this is how we return the favor.
And I'll tell you what, beyond that, there's something biochemical that happens when you go and do something for someone else without getting anything in return.
Again, proven chemical, clinical fact. Yes, there is that melatonin or whatever, that shot of joy that you get, whether you intended to or not.
Yeah.
You know, these, for instance, I don't want to go volunteer while you're going.
Yeah.
When they get back, man, that was really cool.
I'm glad I did.
How do you feel about that? Well, that was fun, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're going to go next time? Yeah, sure. And so we did a lot of that, and that continues to this day. People will call us and they need this cleaned up or that cleaned up and don't have any money. On the other hand, people who see and appreciate that and do have funds, rather than call, Bob the fence maker or Bob the deck builder or Bob the tree trimmer, or gardener. They call, do you have some people that would want to work a few hours in my flower beds or whatever? Yes, ma'am. We try to get the folks $10 an hour. If that sounds reasonable to you, well, yeah. And so we keep pretty busy with that kind of thing.
I imagine you would, especially nowadays. Shoot, I had someone come out to mow the yard, and they're charging what's basically $60 an hour.
Oh, wow,
and I'm thinking, man, I'd love to pay a couple guys $10 an hour, and give.
And we're thinking about that going into this year. We don't quite have the right trailer for it, but we do have plenty of lawnmowers and weed eaters and rakes and all that sort of thing, and people who want to do it and know how. So we might do that this year, do the lawn thing. I know that it's a need, and it's a way for anybody in the house, women and men included, to go out and make a couple of bucks.
Yeah.
And kind of start getting back on their feet.
I think it's so incredibly important getting sober.
Yes.
And breaking through that wall and getting out.
Right.
Getting out and doing things, and not just sitting on your bed staring at a wall.
Right. Let's back up to the after Christmas thing. So we're doing the New Year's and we're celebrating. And my question to the guys, among other things, one of the questions, we had several sponsors there. Several of our donors were major donors or supporters, people who have been with us since day one, supporting us in whatever way. We had, 20 of them there, 30. So I was asking the guys, I said, and the lady said, so how did it feel going home? Did you enjoy yourself? Yeah. I said, how did it feel? Look back and think, I don't care what they asked you. You didn't have to tell anybody a single lie. You didn't have to lie about anything. How did that feel? Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, man, that was so cool. You didn't have to lie about where you were, who you've been with, what you did with your money, whether or not you're sober. You didn't have to lie about anything. And that and the realization that they were able to do that I can do. I don't have to. Wow, that's my family can trust me again. People, because the first thing I try to tell people is I'm gonna. Well, I do tell them. I say I'm gonna trust you. I'm gonna trust you. You're gonna have to prove to me that I can't trust you. Mm-hmm. You're gonna have to prove that to me, because I think you want me to trust you, and I want to. So if you are untrustworthy, well, you're going to have to prove that. But I'm going to give you every opportunity in the world to begin to trust yourself again.
You know what? To your point, I think one of the most incredible things is, and it's probably just basic human psychology, but I found that, and I would butcher the expression, but if you treat someone like they don't belong, or like they're, you know, less than, or in any way unequal,
Right.
they will subconsciously accept that label
You bet.
and identify with
You
it.
bet.
But like what you're doing, telling these guys, like, listen, I'm going to come out of the gate at trusting you.
Absolutely.
And because I think that you want me to trust
I
you.
have no reason not to trust you. I don't know you at all.
Exactly.
So why would I not trust you? I don't know
What a
anything about you.
gift that is.
And then the other thing is, I promise you, everyone who comes to the door, I sit down with them and I say 3 things. Aside from whatever else you just signed paperwork with the panel, with the intake, okay? I promise you that while you're in this house, you will be safe, number 1. I promise you, you'll be safe. I promise you there will be peace in this house. Actually, peace is number 1. Safety is number 2. First is peace. There will be peace in this house. We will maintain peace in this house. No one is allowed to disrupt my peace.
Yeah.
Including you.
Perfect.
So if you find that, you know, you can't be peaceful here, if we find that we can't trust you, it's kind of what that boils down to.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to ask you to leave. So we're going to maintain peace. You're going to be safe, and we're going to give you all the time that you need to accomplish whatever it is you decide going forward that you need to accomplish to build a new life that you do not feel a need to escape from, a sustainable life.
Yeah.
And we're going to give you all the tools and skills and know how to do that. And we're going to help you do that. We're going to help you do that. We're going to help you get a job, get a car, understand, you know, get your ID, get your Social Security, file your taxes, you know.
Do all the
straighten
things.
out your DHS stuff, straighten out your stuff with the court, you know. Call your DHS worker. Quit fussing about these people. You could not do the job they do. And it's not, you know what, all the problems you're having, you didn't like the judge, you don't like your lawyer, you don't like how they treat you in jail, you don't like how DHS is treating you about your children, you don't like that your children are living with whoever, and they're mad at you. Well, do you know whose fault it is? Your fault. Every single one of those things. It's all your fault.
Yeah.
It is all your fault. Yeah, but my wife, well, no. It's all your fault.
Yep.
All of these things because of decisions that you made.
Exactly. And I think it's a basic human, call it a flaw, that we want to pass the buck, and deflect that responsibility. But that's crucial to understanding what life is really about.
Yes.
If you can understand the principle that every decision I make creates an action, and that action creates a result.
That's right.
And that result is either going to be positive or negative based on the action, right? That is enough. When you understand it and fully comprehend it, that will change your life.
Yeah, and it does. And we do not let people off the hook about that.
Good.
We don't, because you have to do that, and then you have to go to counseling, and you have to go back in your counseling with that one person in the world you can be totally honest with, and they're not going to repeat that to anybody at all. Okay, and eventually you will become totally open with that counselor. And you'll be able to go back and deal with whatever that issue was in your childhood or in your divorce or at your job or whatever it was. And there may be several. And you will learn to deal with them. And those are the roots of your addiction, not having dealt with those issues, not knowing how, not being able to, whatever it might have been, or not wanting to. You didn't know how, or you weren't able, or you didn't want to. So, but you have to. If you want to not stay addicted, and then I'm a little different in my approach about this as opposed to AA or NA or whatever, because I tell the guys, stop saying you're a recovering addict. Stop saying that. You know, I said I cooked for years and years, 20 years, 30 years. I'm a really good cook. I could do it blindfolded, but I don't do it anymore. I don't do that anymore. I do other things now, but I don't go around telling people I'm a recovering cook. It's just something I don't do anymore.
Yeah.
I want you to get that mindset.
And I've also found, to your point, that when you and one of the qualms that I have with AA or what do they call it? Addicts Anonymous. But you introduce yourself by saying, "Hi, I'm so and so, and I'm an addict, or I'm an alcoholic."
Yeah, let it go.
And when you, let it go. You're not that anymore.
No.
So stop identifying.
Right.
You know, they say, "I am."
Right. I am.
That is your identity.
And it almost becomes it's still your excuse.
Exactly.
That's still my excuse. Well, I'm a recovering addict, so don't expect too much of me.
Yeah.
BS.
Flip the script, man.
Flip the script, man.
Yeah,
Pivot.
you don't need to be that anymore, and there's no point
No.
in trying to drag it out or
No.
holding on to it, because all you're doing is halting your own progress and progression as a human being.
Yeah, let's start talking about what your goals are going forward. What is it that you want to be now?
Yeah.
What do you want to do now?
Yeah. I think that's something we all hold on to the past, and especially addicts, specifically, we're so afraid of the future and the unknown.
Sure.
And man,
you're afraid that when you leave that house and you're all sober and you've got a job and you're going to run into Jake or Bob or Sue, who remembers you back when, and you're going to feel guilty in their eyes.
Yeah.
You're not going to know that you're sober and cleaned up and you're being productive and it's going to, it is. It's going to hit you.
But you know what that does?
Okay. You got to deal with it.
You have to deal with it. And you also have to understand that that person's opinion of you does not have to be your reality.
No.
It's just their opinion.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest eye-opening things for me was realizing that I and I alone am in control of my life and my feelings.
Sure.
And, someone will be mad and you'll say, hey, what's wrong? He said, oh, well, he made me feel like an idiot, or, he called me a name or whatever. It's like, why did that affect how you feel?
Right.
It's just someone's opinion.
Yeah. It's the same thing. It's learning to react differently.
Yeah.
To everything. And as they say, what other people think of you is none of your business.
Yeah.
It's none of your business.
That's exactly right.
None of your business. Why do you care?
Yeah.
You could spend all day working on that. And the truth is, and you think that everyone is judging you, looking at you, and this is the thing that you get with people when they first come in. Everybody in the house is looking at me, man. They all think I'm going to steal something. They all think I'm going to whatever. You know what? The truth is, they're not thinking about you at all, man.
Yeah.
You are the last thing on their mind. They're thinking about lunch, or whatever. They're not. No.
So how long is the average person going to stay at the Hope House?
Well, we haven't been around long enough to have that number.
Okay.
I tell them you can stay here up to 2 years before I will say to you, what's your plan going forward? It's okay if it takes you 2 years to arrive at that point where you feel strong enough in yourself to walk out of here unsupported and live your life great. But you know what? I don't really care if you stay 3 years or 4 or 5, if that's what it takes. I don't know what you need. You know, God knows. You probably don't know.
Yeah.
But
somewhere you do.
Somewhere you do. You will find, but take it slow. And that's the thing I try to tell because everybody, man, I got to go out and get a job. I got to make some money. Why do you?
Slow down.
Stop. Why do you?
Mm-hmm.
Everything you need is right here. Food, clothing, shelter, toothpaste, toilet paper. What is it that you need money for?
Yeah.
Well, I've got court fines. Well, the court will probably delay your fines while you do this program. Yeah. Sometimes they do. Sometimes. Depends on how much they did like or dislike you. Were you nice to the judge or not?
What kind of reputation have you built up with the court system?
If you cussed out the judge, probably not. And so there are ways around that. And so, no, you really don't. Slow down. There's no hurry. What you need to do mostly is stop. And let's figure out, again, why if you knew what to do today, you wouldn't be here.
Yeah. Yeah.
If your plan was the good plan, you would not be at Hope House.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I know how to this, I know how to that, and I said, and yet, here you are.
That's still deflecting. It's
Here
still putting the blame on someone else.
Right.
You've got to assume responsibility for your life and where you are today.
Right. Yes.
And it's not until you do that
Right.
that you can, like you're talking about, make a plan to move forward.
You say that boss, but that boss I had, yada, 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 or that my landlord, yada, yada. Well, whatever it was your fault.
Yeah.
Well, I was behind on my rent and everything, but okay, it's your fault.
Yeah.
Well, I lost my job because my boss was again, your fault. You chose the job, your decision.
Yeah. So how do you support 42, 45 people that are living in this facility? They're eating 3 meals a day.
Yeah.
They're, showering.
Right.
They're consuming things. How do you keep this place running?
I pray. When we signed the lease, me and the boys, which we thought would be, it's 18,000 square feet, fully furnished. we walked through there, you and I and some friends, and there's all bedroom furniture and commercial kitchen equipment, pots and pans. There was food in the pantry, food in the freezers when we took over. Bedrooms, suites, office furniture, living room furniture, dining tables and chairs, knives and forks, everything you needed. Files.
So the place came move-in ready. Almost.
Move-in ready. Just needed a cleaning.
Yeah.
It needs a good cleaning up, So it came move-in ready, 18,000 square feet, 35 bedrooms, And I'm thinking, this is going to be $7,000 a month they're going to want for this.
Easy.
But but we met with them. A representative of North Care owns that property, North Care. And so she said, okay, well, let me talk to my people and we'll get back together in a couple of weeks. I'll get a contract. Okay, sure. So how much is that going to be, man? 5,000, 7,000 a month? What do you think they want for that place? So we get back together 2 weeks later. She says, okay, so how many years would you like the lease to run? Let's start with 5. Okay. So it'll be $1,300 a month. $1,300 a month.
Really?
I bet your house payment is close to that. Mine is.
Yeah. That's incredible.
My house.
But that facility's easily worth what, $1.2 million?
It's insured for $1.8 million.
1.8.
That's what I had to insure it for. What
Okay.
it was previously insured for, and because it's been seriously upgraded. Plumbing, electrical, heat and air, all new, 7 systems in there.
But this is what you need. Like this facility, you wouldn't be where you are today without that.
But we didn't know we needed it. We were just looking for somewhere to continue helping these guys serve lunch.
Yeah.
And all these rooms and furniture, but both of those boys and myself had always had that heart, that mission for, let's get people off the street. Let's get these addicts off the street, or whoever.
Yeah.
Mothers with children that have, divorced and nowhere to go and don't have a car, whoever, and that was the dream, but I didn't see it coming. God knew I wanted to do it 40 years ago. I'd kind of forgotten about it because they just never could figure out how to make it happen. I said, where am I going to get enough money for a place like that? I could buy an old motel, take over an old church. Well, it just never happened.
Until God made it happen.
Until God made it happen. Whether I... And it was a year in before that hit me because I was making this speech to the guys. I said, if you'll stay here 18 months, you got nothing to worry about. And it suddenly hit me. Wow, that was exactly what I told everyone, and God when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I'm 60. I'll be 66 in a week or so. This was 40 plus years ago. And so, God begins to work in you and he will bring that to fruition. He promises you that, whether you remember or not. I will complete the work I began in you.
I think we are all put on this earth with a purpose to fulfill.
Sure.
And I think that purpose is never self-centered.
No,
that purpose is always outward,
right,
or outwardly focused.
Outward oriented. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
and I feel like when you can find what it is that you are supposed to be bringing to the community or to people outside of yourself,
right,
I think that's really where fulfillment is.
I absolutely agree. So how do we fund it? Between us, we didn't even have $100 when we signed that lease, and we walked out of there, and Michael says to me, where are we going to get the money? I said, we're going to pray, brother. We're going to pray hard. And we really did not have any idea, and I didn't know what the bills were going to be like or anything. So as we began to research that, call OG&E, hey, how much were the average bills and the water and the gas? Well, it was a lot, and as it turns out. For about the first year or so, it cost us about $8,500 a month, and about $6,500 of that was just the fixed, insurance, rent, utilities.
And all of that comes from donations?
All that comes from donations. Wow. Nobody, when we opened the door, had signed on to give us any money every month. Nobody.
Wow.
Nobody. So I put it on Facebook, to my old high school friends, and eventually we got a website up, and eventually we got a Facebook page. But that first month or two, well, the first thing that happened was they said, North Care, who owned the building, said, now, if you'll clean this place up, because we really didn't when we left, we just had to move so fast. If you'll clean everything up, if you don't mind doing that, we'll give you the first 2 months free.
Okay.
Oh, great. I got 60 more days
Yeah.
to find money. All right, deal. And so so we got the first 2 months free. Of course, we had to put up the deposits for the water and the insurance deposit and things I didn't know or didn't expect. But where we found the money. But I said, I don't feel comfortable signing the lease because we were supposed to sign the lease in March. And I said, I am not comfortable signing that lease until I've got at least $3,000. So I know we can make a couple of months.
Yeah.
And so I put that on Facebook. We're trying to do this thing, Hope House, and we could really use your help. And yada, yada. Well, somebody, and to this day, I don't know who this was, never could track the person down. Somebody, right off the bat, mailed us a check for $3,000.
Wow.
No idea who this guy is. And I really tried to find out. And then a few months later, about 4 or 5 months later, he did it again. And I was like, well, my word. So it was just a thing, as you said, God wanted to happen. I just assumed, I'm pretty naive, I really am. I just assumed, we'll say we're opening this recovery addiction place. We got all these bedrooms, and we could take men and women and children, and every church in town will jump in here and donate, $100 a month, and boom. There's like 30, 40 churches in the county, And I was just sure they'd all just jump right on board that. Well, of course they didn't because they don't know me or these other guys. And if you're drug addicts and alcoholics and, they're going to be doing drugs over there. They're going to be selling dope in that place. They're going to be having...
Place is going to be a wreck.
Going to be a wreck. Going to be having, all night drunken orgies and whatever. And there's an element of truth in that. You run a house like this, sooner or later somebody's going to sneak something in. Sure they are, and we're going to catch them every time. We might not know it that second, but we're going to know it tomorrow or the next day. It's going to get out, and then you got to leave. You got to go, man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Bye.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you again in 30 days. Go back out there. Remember what it's like out there for 30 days. And then if you want to come back and try it again, we'll let you come back and try it again. And that happens. It happens. And, we're never going to prevent that. We don't have any security. It's me and my 2 lady volunteers who are there some days and some days are not, and the clients. The clients run the house.
Wow.
The clients are the staff. The clients oversee the policies and the rules, and they do the intakes, and they will kick you out. If I'm not there and someone commits an infraction worthy of immediate separation from the house,
they'll kick you out.
Brother OJ, we had to ask so-and-so to leave. What'd he do? Yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
Sounds legit to me. So I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And we're always sorry. Of course we're sorry. We want everyone to make it. So 265 plus people have been through the house since we opened the doors.
Do you have a tally on, or do you stay connected with them after they leave? Do they...
The ones who are serious, the ones who are there for more than a month and a half, 2 months, who are really trying to break the cycle, it's a small town. Mm-hmm. Most of the people come to us are from this community, or at least from this county. Not all. We get people from Florida.
Yeah.
Somebody has a family member, a friend in Florida, needs help, and they live here in Guthrie and know about Hope House. Well, I know this place in Guthrie. Let me get you a bus ticket, and boom, that happens a few times. Or Texas or wherever. We get quite a bit of that, actually, and out of town, Edmond, Oklahoma City, certainly. So what was the question? Do we keep track of them? Do we track them afterwards?
I was just kind of curious if you knew how many of the people that went through the program successfully had maintained had been able to maintain sobriety.
Well, it's again, we're so young, it's kind of hard to for that to track. But we have people who have been there for more than, let's say, 6-8 months who have moved out, and we're keeping track of them. And to our knowledge, so far everybody's doing good. Got a house, they're being straight, got work. They check in, they come by, pick up their mail or whatever. Depending on who you are, might hold your mail if you stay in contact. But if you just disappear, we're just going to return your mail to. I can't be responsible for your mail, man.
Yeah,
can't do that. So yeah, we try to keep track, and we've had a few that have successfully moved out and are doing great, who did more than, let's say, 4 months in the house.
Sure.
Okay. Now we also 260 plus people. We also had two that, for various reasons, we had to ask to leave the house. One guy had been there for 6 months, but it just became impossible with aggressiveness and issues to keep him in the house.
Yeah. And you have to take into account the greater good and
I have to protect
everyone
the
else
house.
there.
I have to protect the house, not just physically. And sometimes it's a matter of physical, force, of fear of physical aggression.
But I imagine sometimes it's just you even need to protect it from a mindset, or from that negative energy.
As
that's
I said, we must have peace in the house.
Yeah,
we
crucial
must, for people to make that growth.
Yeah.
Got to maintain that certain level of peace. So in both of those situations, it was just aggressiveness, and because frankly. We get a lot of people who have mental disorders. Schizophrenia is a big one, especially if you're doing meth or have done meth. If you're schizophrenic already and you begin to do meth, man, you will become a hot mess. It can kill you because it just destroys your mind, you know.
Yeah.
And so we get a lot of that, a lot of people who are schizophrenic and to one degree or another, and we get them treatment and we get them medications if they will. But then again, some people have been there, done that, and I ain't taking those medicines.
Yeah.
I don't like how they make me feel. I'm not going to take them. Well, all right, well, you can stay here as long as you are peaceful.
Yep.
Basically. Yep. And so a couple of guys, more than two guys, we've had to ask to leave, and two of our clients unfortunately committed suicide and died. Well, that's going to happen in my world, in this world.
God.
That's going to happen.
What? Wow. Was that a surprise, or were you afraid that they might do something like that?
I am always afraid when they are that mentally unstable and refuse to go to counseling, and they've been there. They went to counseling. I'm not going because they'll lock me up again. Oh, well, okay. I can't keep you here if you don't do your medications.
Yeah.
Because
especially if you need them.
If you're on your medications, you know.
Yeah.
Well, then you're manageable. You can manage yourself, and I can trust you to be in the house and not hurt one of these children, or one of these ladies, or your roommate. You know, in the middle of the night. That's the problem. And so, but if you won't take your medications, no, you can't stay. It's just that simple. You and I both know, and they do. They know I can't. You know, I get out of control when I don't do my meds. Well, then take the meds. I don't like the meds.
Pick your battle,
son.
Yeah.
Know?
You can't have it both ways.
Yeah,
we were talking earlier about decision making.
Yeah, and one of those guys, I just loved the guy to death. Everybody did. Just a beautiful guy, but he would abuse or refuse, either abuse, take too many, or not take them, or whatever. And so we have a different program now. You know, again, that was very early on, and we really didn't have the controls that we have now to manage medications. And so, anyway.
Well, you guys are doing some awesome things, and that's why I wanted to bring you on here, kind of tell some more people about this. And you're running this whole program off of donations.
Pure donations. And we do now have several of the churches that donate to us on one level or another, several civic organizations that donate to us, several individuals and businesses in town that donate to us monetarily.
Sure.
We have about 4,000, I think, a month in commitments of one amount or another. Some of that's $10 a month. You know,
okay.
A trolley driver, for instance, $10 a month, and some of that's $100 a month or $50 a month or whatever. And then we have some churches who are going to do this much a month, or this percentage of our offering a month, or whatever it might be. But that all amounts to about $4,000 a month. Now, we now know, since we just finished our books, you know, for last year, that our average budget, or what we spent last year, averaged out to $10,250 a month, let's say.
So on average, it's costing more than $10,000 to keep this thing
and
running every month.
Brother, I have no idea where that money came from. And I have no idea where it comes from or where it's going to come from this month, but it's going to come.
So if I'm an individual
Yes, sir.
and I decide, hey, this is something I want to get behind,
Right.
how can I,
Sure.
because I donate to St. Jude's, it's just a monthly
Oh,
payment,
absolutely.
comes out automatically.
Absolutely.
Can we
Right.
do that for Hope House?
You could do it for Hope House. We have a website. It's called hopehouseguthrie.org, hopehouseguthrie.org. And on that website, it kind of course, tells our story a little bit. And, click here to donate.
Okay.
There's a button right at the top, and then as you scroll through, there's another opportunity down below. And you can agree to donate. You can do a one-time donation of whatever amount, or you can commit to do a recurring donation of whatever amount a month. We have what we call the 300 Club. Our 300 Club, we ask those members to commit to $10 or more monthly in a recurring donation, the 300 Club. The other option that we have is our Adopt a Room program. We have 35 bedrooms.
Okay.
And that changes. Sometimes we have 36. If we have to empty our storage room and make another bedroom, well, we will. We'll stack it up in the lobby, whatever we have to do. Adopt a Room, that's $40 a month program. And it's a symbolic thing. Adopt a space. You're adopting a room in which there might be one or two men, or one or two women, or one woman with 3 children in a room. That happens.
Okay.
Our spaces are very limited,
Sure.
but we're going to squeeze you in if you come to us and need space. If at all possible, we're going to squeeze you in. So the $40 room, you can do that, adopt a room, and we will know if you commit to $40. We'll say, oh, how do you know I'm doing the $40 a month adopt a room? Well, if you commit to recurring $40 a month, and we're going to enroll you on our books as a member of the Adopt a Room program. And
So all you have to do is put $40 a month.
bucks a month, yeah.
Okay.
And so, I lost the thought. Imagine that. So anyway, so that's we have about 4,000 a month right now, give or take, in committed monthly donations, and the rest, honestly, and it's always been this way. My deal with God was I don't know what to do about the money. I just don't. So I'm going to worry about the people and whatever it is they need.
Let God handle the money.
And you're going to have to worry about the money. And the first electric bill we got was $1,000, and we'd already spent $5,000 or $6,000 just getting the doors open with deposits and whatever, inspections, whatever. So we were pretty broke. And there I get this electric bill for $1,000, and I'm just stunned. I'm like, my word. Well, we're done. We're done.
That's it.
If you have no more money, I don't have $1,000. They're going to turn off our electric. You can't be open without electric. We're done. That's, So the next day, a representative from one of our local churches, community church, who I had only met these folks one time. I didn't know anybody. Any of them, a group of them had been one time to Hope House, because I invited them. They'll just come see.
Check it out.
Just come look and do whatever God tells you to do, if anything.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you for any particular commitment. I'm not going to do that. You don't know what God wants you to do, standing here. So anyway, so this man, Tyler, shows up the next day, Pastor Tyler, said we took up a little donation for Hope House Sunday, and so here you go. And he's grinning, big grin. I said, wow, thanks. And
That's
he's grinning,
awesome.
and I said, would you like me to, can I open it now? Yeah, you should open it now. Yeah, okay. So I opened it, and hey, guess how much that check was for? $1,000.
Wow.
So, and I just bawling, and it just God's whatever just flooded over me, and said, that's it. Don't worry. Stop worrying. Stop
Man,
thinking about that.
at the end of the day, people, I believe people are basically good,
They are,
and
Yes, they are.
people want to help. And I think
But they have to
can-
believe in what you're doing.
They have to believe. And anyone that is listening to this,
Yeah.
I think could get behind Hope
Yeah,
House Guthrie.
Yeah.
So-
We spend $650 a month on salaries. My 3 key people. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all nobody's making money over here. Trust me. And
Well, so the website is Hope House Guthrie,
.org.
hopehouseguthrie.org.
Right.
You can set up a one-time or reoccurring payment or contribution.
Yes.
And you've got a $40 or $40 basically buy a room
Right.
and support that
And you
room.
could come and
People-
decorate that room. You could come choose a room and
that's
decorate it
cool.
any way you want. And people do that.
There we
they do.
go.
It's so much fun.
There we
so
go.
much fun. And yeah, so or you can just mail us a check with our post office box, PO box. It's NHD Neighborhood Hope Dealers on your check, NHD, and then it's post office box 491, Guthrie, Oklahoma 73044. If you want to just mail a check, and many people do, straight out of their whatever fund every month or account.
Well, and what we'll do is we'll go ahead and put the link to the website, and we'll put the address where people can mail a check. And I really want some folks to reach out. You're doing amazing work, and I'm glad you came today.
Well, I appreciate
I'd
it.
really like to have you back on at another time. And
we
I know
have a Facebook page too, I should say.
You should.
But our Facebook page is Neighborhood Hope Dealers.
Okay.
Neighborhood Hope Dealers on Facebook.
I love that. Neighborhood Hope Dealers.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So anyway, well, I can't thank you enough for having me. This is so much fun, and anything I can do to get the word out to support what God's doing here. You know, the most amazing thing. Now think about this: all these people have come to us for drug addiction. Some straight out of jail. Pick them up at the jail. Can you pick me up? Can you give me a bus ride? Come get me in Oklahoma City, straight out of jail or prison. 260, almost 270 people probably as of today. Wow. Not one time has anybody who was staying at Hope House thrown a punch or knocked someone down.
No fights.
Or pulled a knife. You know, there's never been one brawl. Nobody's ever raised a hand to anybody in Hope House.
You know
and
what?
That is only because of the calming effect that God has over that house, and you can feel it. You feel it. It's like a blanket.
Well, you know what? I think you brought God into that program and into that building. And OJ, I love the work. Yeah, it's all God's plan.
It's all God's plan.
Well, OJ, it's been wonderful to have you on here. Thanks again for coming. And
thank you again, Craig.
We've got some other stuff in the works too. Yeah. So I think our company's going to see if we can put something together for you.
I really appreciate that. It's beautiful.
Absolutely.
We'll come back. We're planning a thing for spring. I think we're going to do a bake-off fundraiser for spring.
That'll be fun.
We have people that love to bake.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to do that. And of course we'll have Elvis and so on and so forth. Yeah. So
perfect.
We'll be back when we get that.
We'll have to have you back out after that.
Tell you about it. Okay.
All right, OJ. Thank you, sir.
Thank you
appreciate
again.
it.
Bye.